The smart money is buying. It's as simple as that. People like accredited investors, institutions, and just plain whales know exactly what is about to unfold, or at least they're speculating based on all the information we have. Now, I don't think I have to tell anyone watching this video exactly what those topics are. I've made multiple videos on those so far, but today, what I am going to do is show you exactly what these sort of people are actually doing right now to speculate on the worst possible situation, which, as we're about to see, a few years ago, there was a certain event that unfolded that those sort of people, i.e. the smart money, ended up benefiting greatly. And I know multiple people that actually did that because they just waited, analyzed the situation, and took the safest bet, which ultimately netted them, multiples more, 10, 20, 30, 40x more. And how many of us have thought to ourselves, if only I was more patient, if only I did this, why? We always look back in hindsight and think to ourselves, if I was just more patient and looked at the warning signs. So today's video isn't the warning signs. We've seen the warning signs and I've made videos on that like I just said. Today, we are going to be looking at what the smart money is doing and honestly placing our bets. Now, I can't sit here and tell you for a fact doing this, it's going to play out as intended. But the downside or the opposite to what I'm going to be showing you isn't all that bad, guys. So stick with me, watch the video the whole way through. You should hopefully learn one thing or another. Now, I'm super pumped because I'm going to show you some charts. And as I mentioned, pretty much explain to you what the smart money is doing. But before I do, I want to give you a prime example of this. Now, I don't particularly advocate for Lady of Crypto. For those of you who know her, she's made some sus calls, but I don't want to call her out because I do think she means well. But essentially, I do want to show you guys what she said recently, right? What she said back in June the 11th, only literally yesterday, okay? So she said this: I'll break it to you. I bought a few alts after the first SEC dip. I thought I was getting good prices, but I was wrong. So I changed my mind about buying the dip. As an investor, I look at many factors to make my buying decisions, and in a market as dynamic as crypto, which is true, those factors change fast, literally within the hours, right? Now, when I woke up, I did see some alts at negative 30%, which we can all admit is a pretty big change. So what she did here was a very smart thing. She actually decided to take a step back, have a breather, and reassess her plan, right? Because she did actually buy that dip, the initial dip at least, right? Before it jumped down to that extra 30%. And that's when she tweeted she was not going to be buy that mega dip straight away. Now, one of the key things to her survival in crypto is that she is very flexible. She said that she's able to admit that she was wrong and change her opinion. Now, she was wrong about buying the dip over the last few days, so I took my foot off the pedal, at least she did, and decided to let things settle before buying again. So this goes into what I was just saying, right? No one's right. I can sit here and tell you guys what I think is going to happen next and what the smart money is doing, but we can all be wrong, okay? We have to kind of take what's out there, what the news is, and then kind of speculate and look at the up and the downsides of doing such, okay? So that's all going to make sense momentarily, but I want to show you this first. This was that dip that I was talking to you about. And again, I know multiple people, both in my personal life and also YouTubers, that benefited here greatly. And ultimately, it sometimes does mean just holding extra cash on the side, which is why I have a fair bit of money as well sitting on the side for what I'm going to wait for, that black swan event, okay? And this might actually be it. Now, smart money waits to make a decision first. This is why it's always good to have cash/stables in hand. So this attains to this yellow area right here, okay? This was pretty much when the big C word was up in the air. I can't really say it on YouTube. This video might not get out there as much as if I do say it. Matter of fact, I might get banned. So yes, in this area here, right, the big C word was, plaguing the world, and it started getting more attention. But I know people that waited and they waited and they waited until the news was mainstream, until the hammer was essentially cracked, okay? And when that hammer came crashing down, what happened? As we can see here, literally in 6 days from roughly this point, the market literally crashed 50%. Keep in mind, this chart represents the global crypto market cap. So in 6 days, we lost $122 billion, just under 50% rather of the total market cap. Crazy, okay? So again, people that waited here ended up buying back in down here, okay? And what happened after that? Well, You know, not too long after, we had the halving and the market recovered, right? It didn't take too long, okay, for the market to pretty much come back up to where it was pre this crash. And then, as we all know, the bull market ensued. So people picked up like Binance Coin, BNB Coin for like $5-6 or something crazy like that back then. And ultimately, it ended up pumping up to, you know, $300 or $400, $500 in the bull market, okay? So, and before that, it was definitely, you know, well and truly above single digits, okay? So that just goes to show that what we need to do is look at what's happening, right? At that point in time, there was definitely news surrounding some of these events, right? People were panicking, things were starting to unfold, it was getting more and more mainstream, and this comes to where we are right now, okay? So things have been playing out on a bit of a longer time frame here, but it's more crypto-specific bad news, all right? So what happened way back on the 17th of April? Actually, it's 18th of April. Obviously, I'm pretty much a day ahead of most people, right? The US time zone. Well, Bittrex had their lawsuit, okay? That was filed, and that did crash the price, as you can see here, quite significantly, but over a course of 50 days, which is the blue line representing here, which is to where we are right now, okay? Which is just under 2 months. What's happened? Well, Binance and Coinbase have been hit yet again. And you might be thinking to yourself, oh, Kyron, you know, the market didn't really crash as much as it did with the Bittrex. I admit, yes, that is correct. That's true. But you got to also remember, we were significantly, you know, a fair bit down from where we are up here. Actually, matter of fact, from where we were about a month and a half, 2 months ago with the Bittrex, before the Bittrex lawsuit, we were at $1.25 trillion market cap. Where are we right now? We're just teetering on $1 trillion, right? We lost $221 billion, which is actually more than the big C, okay, back here at 122. We lost significantly more. Yes, we have more, but what I'm trying to say is the dust hasn't settled yet. And this is what I was saying a few days ago in my video. I'm going to give myself about a month or two for the dust to really settle, and that is where we come to what the smart money is doing. The smart money, this here, is essentially the yellow, okay, on a larger time frame. There's been certain events that have come out. Bittrex, Binance, and Coinbase tanked the price. Well, hey, what happens next could be a hell of a lot worse. Now, again, I want to reiterate for everyone listening to this, thinking to yourself, well, there's a higher chance XRP will win the lawsuit, or at least the Hinman documents are going to come out and be favorable for not just XRP, XLM, but the entire crypto market. And to that I say yes, the green line could definitely happen. But here's what I think, and here's what smart money is kind of saying. Well, if that pumps, we're still in a bear market. It's not like back in 2020 where we had the halving happen a few months after that crash, okay? The halving won't be happening until, you know, about 8 or 9, 10 months away, okay? So for those thinking the market's going to be in a bull run, I don't think so. Just like the same people were pretty much saying we're going to see a super cycle back in 2021. I don't think that's going to happen just yet, okay? But what we might see is some form of regulation start to form at this point, or at least unofficial regulation, okay? If it's good news, it's going to relieve the market quite a bit. And I don't know how long the market might pump for, but what smart money's thinking is, okay, if it pumps, we're still in a bear market. The chance it comes back down again is quite significant. And that's not to say that, you know, you shouldn't buy here. I'm sure smart money's been buying this dip. I definitely haven't been, because I am a proponent that the chances are we see more downside here than we do see upside, because there are, again, I'm not going to mention these, multiple more events that have happened recently and could possibly happen in the future as sort of like a cataclysmic event, right? We have the Robinhood situation, right? We have about 500, well, let's actually talk about these, right? About $500 million actually well over in Robinhood right now. Now, Robinhood has about 14 assets on the exchange. Now, 3 of them, Polygon, Cardano, and Solana, are being removed. And that's about $580 odd million, okay? So it's about $1.3 billion in total. But what this pretty much means, and why this actually is a lot worse than what you might initially think, is because people that use Robinhood don't do self-custody. People that use Robinhood aren't really crypto fanatics. They don't really know how to move their money. So they might end up just simply selling, okay? And therefore, it's going to obviously create more sell pressure. Now, you might be thinking again, Kyron, this guy is just a massive pessimistic person, or he's a pessimist, and he's really trying to say, look, there's a lot worse can happen. You don't have to follow what I'm saying, by all means. If you're someone who strongly believes the green line will play out, you do what you have to do. I'm just here to bring you the facts, because even if, right, there's a high chance that these documents don't really reveal all that much, right? And crypto has a tendency to over-exaggerate or under-exaggerate things often, right? We tend to go, oh my God, this is going to be a massive pivotal moment. And what ends up happening is, it's kind of like, it is what it is, okay? And sometimes also what happens is price is often entered in a lot before it happens. So there is a chance that the worst possibly has happened already, okay? So I must admit, there's definitely two sides, but I think that yellow could definitely play out here where the Hinman documents don't really show all that much, or there's, you know, enough redacted in those documents to where the public can't really see what's actually happening here, and obviously Ripple can't talk about that publicly. So yeah, I think one of these three situations will play out. No one's a magician. No one can see in the future. Okay, no one's got a crystal ball. But for me, there's a lot more possible downside that can happen. And so I strongly believe, and I believe a lot of the smart money here is prepared to start buying. Okay, whether it hits the yellow or not, or red, it's going to happen. And ultimately, as I said, you know, I think green, the best case here, it's still going to end up coming back down to where we are in the bear market. Ultimately, again, we're not going to see a bull market till ages and ages. This chart doesn't even go as far as September, okay? So keep in mind, you know, it's going to be a short-term thing ultimately. There's still these ongoing lawsuits that have happened, and ultimately there are banks that are being closed down because of the whole apparent choke point 2.0 thing. And ultimately, I think the global macro situation now is not very favorable. So at the end of the day, we're still in a bear market. These altcoins still have as much potential as they did 3 months ago. Keep that in mind. So when you're thinking about it, going, okay, maybe Kyron's right here. Maybe you do agree that smart money is prepared to start buying a lot more here, just like yourself, Lady of Crypto. She knows to let the dust settle a little bit first. Okay, a few more months. Well, you know, they're still the same projects, guys. They could tank the bet in the short term, but they're still buying, right? Nothing's fundamentally changed with these good projects. If regulation comes, we can adapt, especially if it's negative. Cryptocurrencies can change things over time. But remember that people control the markets, therefore expect a dramatic move in the direction of the news itself. So again, you know, bad or good news, whether the end side is actually net benefit to crypto, even though it might be temporarily bad news, you know, the market's full of people who only see red as red, green as green. They don't really sometimes read between the lines. And so what do I gain from giving you this information? Well, net F all. I gain nothing from telling you this. The only reason I'm sharing this with you is because I know a lot of you are watching my videos thinking to yourselves, I don't know what's going to happen next, because that was me. And that sometimes still is me. But I like to look at opportunities, and I almost have diamond hands with my fiat, or the money I've been saving my whole life to make the most amount of money in crypto, okay? And for me, the opportunity or the chance that the price doesn't move much or moves heavily to the downside far outweighs the chance or the little multiples I could definitely gain if the markets goes to the green side and we see a pump even 100 or 200% globally in the short period of time. Now, that's obviously very unlikely. That won't definitely happen. But even if some of these projects move up, you know, 10, 15x in the short term, I'd rather just play it kind of like that smart money way, okay? Wait until we have clear signals as to what's happening. So again, listen to this, don't listen to this. None of this is financial advice at the end of the day. Just know I have your best intentions at heart. I stand no reason to FUD the market. I'm a small channel at the end of the day. All right, guys, take good care of yourselves, play it smart, and hopefully, you know, I want to talk to you guys down below, so leave me some good comments. Okay, take care all.